and look up to me, being a Black person, standing up for what I believe in, and having a voice for the voiceless, well, then I'm doing at least a part of it. And if you're mad that I said that a lot of the leaders were quiet about this, well, then you need to look at yourself. Would you say the same thing to Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, Colin Kaepernick? Because at least I'm doing something. I think me saying something and speaking up is vital because the kids are watching. The kids are watching. Everybody in jiu-jitsu wants to talk about anti-bully this, anti-bully that. Well, what you're seeing on TV is the epitome of bullying. These people out here peacefully protesting because someone was bullied to death. What the hell is that? Because I'm going to tell you something, from the outside looking in, we look crazy. We look crazy as a jiu-jitsu community. And Nico and I, we've been working together. Part of the reason we collabed was so that other people that look like us, other underprivileged people in some instances in these communities, could learn a valuable self-defense skill like jiu-jitsu so they wouldn't get bullied, so they wouldn't be oppressed. I started jiu-jitsu because I was bullied. I believe in the tenets of martial arts, and I looked up to some of these people. I respected some of these people, but I can look at the silence because you know what? People's ribs is touching. It's a pandemic going on, and I can kind of see that. But for you to even post some pro police brutality shit on your page, I'm not going for it, dog. I'm not rolling. I'm not doing it. And you know what? Because of police brutality, I'm doing a lot of different stuff. I've been doing stuff. I've been active in being socially conscious. I got my degree in sociology from St. John's University. I am a college-educated man. Part of the reason why I do what I do is so I can spread these skills so people like me don't have to worry about being picked on or bullied. And I'm doing stuff underground that I don't talk about because I don't need to talk about it. And you want to know why? Because number one, all these social media people posting stuff, if you're worried about police brutality, I'm going to tell you something. The police, the feds are on here. So be careful what you're saying, number one. And number two, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. We don't have to. I'm acting. Because if you're acting, what your works will show more than your words. But as me, for me, what I want to do as well is voice it, because I don't see too many of us in the sport anyway. And people are hurting. I'm hurt. My family is hurt. You know what's interesting, Nico? A lot of people, like, are talking about the flag, talking about respect for authority. Let me tell you something. Not a lot of people know this about me and my background, okay? My parents both, my mother and my father, my mom, a Black woman who served longer in the military than my dad, both of them are colonels in the U.S. Army. My dad fought in the Gulf War. He earned a Bronze Star. My mom would have went to the Gulf War too if she didn't have me. So when you guys talk about these protests or anti-American, you want to say Colin Kaepernick is a dog and all this stuff, and I'm being anti-police, anti-this. My dad was a military police officer. My family served. Generations of the Spriggs family have served in the Army. But I'm going to tell you what, if I was in the NFL and they asked me to stand, I don't know if I would do it. My parents suffered racism. My dad served this country, but you know what? His ass was pulled over by the police one day, said because he fit this description. My mom is a Black woman in the U.S. Army. You know how much sexism she had to go through? Every day when I come home, she would talk about the shit she had to go through. My parents would talk about the shit they had to go through being Black people in the military. So before you guys want to argue with me, you better believe that I'm educated and I know firsthand. I can go to statistics. I could talk about history. All right? We can go in history. So when I talk about this, I'm not out of school. And as you can see, I have a little bit of firsthand knowledge of this topic.
Been dealing with it for a while.
So I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to shut up and do jiu-jitsu. LeBron ain't going to shut up and dribble. I'm not going to shut up. So I'm going to say what's going on is wrong. And in my sphere of influence in jiu-jitsu, I'm seeing a lot of racism. I see a lot of support of fascism. And I just see callous disregard for the tragedy that happened, and that we as Black people are mourning, but America is mourning. Why do you think all these people are risking their lives in a pandemic to go out there and march? We have teammates on our team that are actively marching, getting shot with rubber bullets. I know a brother in Texas who's a prominent Black belt, went out and marched. They trapped him in a bridge and shot him and the peaceful protesters with tear gas and rubber bullets. That's some of us in the jiu-jitsu community. Some of us are organizing. Some of us are bringing like minds together so we can stop this bullshit. And you would think a martial art based on self-defense, based on the smaller, weaker person standing up to themselves against a big behemoth that's trying to hurt them would show support. But unfortunately, jiu-jitsu has the same ills as society. We have those that are willing to fight, protest, and die for someone's rights, to stand up for the affected, the afflicted, the bullied. But we have others that are either complicit by being silent or complicit by supporting oppressive behavior. And the whole idea of Favela Jiu-Jitsu, and I linked up with them, the whole idea of Lionheart Initiative, why I hooked up with them, and I'm giving them my platform as a Black belt world champion in Nogi. World classes, beating world champions, one of the best in the world. I'm giving them a platform because no matter where we are in the world, it could be in the favelas in Brazil, it could be in Africa, it can be in the United States. People that look like me, Black people, brown people, oppressed people, poor people, because I'm going to tell you something, it's not just about color, it's about how much money you have, how much financial clout you have. All of us are getting abused. All of us are being oppressed. And all of us have one thing in common, the martial arts. So we're trying to use our art, our platform to make the world a better place. And if that's not what you are here for, I don't know why you're even training. I don't know why you're even teaching. Jiu-jitsu, martial arts, Muay Thai, MMA is a valuable skill. It's a life-changing skill. It can save your life. But in the wrong hands, it can take a life unfairly, unjustly. And I think it's important that if you are in a sphere of influence, that you preach positivity. At the end of the day, what we're fighting for, what we're organizing for, what we're marching for, what we're getting shot with rubber bullets for, what we're getting hit with tear gas for, what people out here today, tonight, protesting, and maybe some of them might die tonight for, is so we can spread love, so that everyone is respected, so everyone can feel safe, so that we don't have to think, maybe I didn't get that job because I was Black, or maybe, they don't really like me. They just pretending to like me because I'm good at what I do. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're fighting for. That's what I'm gonna fight for. Now, I might not physically go out there and fight, like fist fight somebody, but I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna use my intelligence. I'm gonna use my skills as a platform, because I know every time I go out on that mat, there's a little Black kid who probably didn't feel that jiu-jitsu was for them because he didn't have a lot of representation. But they're gonna see, when they see Jamil out there winning world titles, tying people up in the knots, they're gonna see that, oh, I'm welcome here. Despite what some of these people online will tell you, with some of the most famous, most filled with clout are gonna tell you, you belong. You belong. You can do jiu-jitsu too. You have someone that looks like you out there that's fighting, and they see you. And we're more than just athletes. So everyone talks about how great jiu-jitsu is because you can go to a seminar and see the Michael Jordan of the sport. Touch them, look at them, learn from them. That's what's special about it. So if we have that effect on people, if we can actually reach out and touch the people that we look up to, I think we got to show them not just the martial arts way, but the right way of justice, like the way you're supposed to treat people. Every school in this country, when you teach the kids class, they have a student creed. And unfortunately, some of them aren't following that creed. But I am. I'm going to fight. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say what I think is right. And I'm going to work to use this platform to share with people so they can feel the same way and so they can feel that their life matters. And Nico, you got a lot of information. You have a lot of resources that you want to share. I have some, but I think you're better at that because you're more experienced with social works. So I'm gonna let you just take over. But that's just my piece. That's just on my mind, you know. And if
Wow.
you feel as though, your voice isn't heard, or you want to express something, you want to tell me that you feel as though some crazy shit's going on in your academy, and you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel safe, you don't feel like that, feel free to let me know. Because I'm telling you now, we are working and we're trying to make it so if you feel as though like they don't think your life matters, you'll have a place to train or you'll have some support. And that's just how I feel, Nico. Like, that's all I got, really. That's all I got, you know.
I
That's
mean, I
all
don't think you could have said that any better than you did. Like that was beautifully put. So what we're gonna do is what I do have here is a list of some resources, some things that I've been checking out. So like I know Tim lives a little bit closer to Baltimore. I live right here in Washington, D.C. So there has been a lot going on. We have been protesting here in D.C. since we filmed the last BJJ Goons podcast with Lionheart last Friday, and then it's just kind of been going on like all week, really. People have been out breaking curfew. They have this thing in DC that's called Mochella, which is kind of like a movement of like the DC go-go music culture and then the Coachella culture. So I know tomorrow there's supposed to be a protest at 12 and then a Mochella event where they're going to get together and they're going down from like U Street and marching down to the White House with music and all these different kinds of events. And I'm like kind of up in the air about like, do you go and support or, you know, again, so worried about Corona and like what to do going out with like all of the violence, getting sick. But for people that aren't able to go to protests or don't know what to do, there's like tons of other resources or ways you can support or just things you can do, like just reaching out to people that you know. I know Tim has gotten a lot of DMs, but I've also gotten messages from people that are just, you know, hurting right now. You know, I have one friend, you know, a Black brother that like hit me up and he was wondering why everybody's burning down all the businesses and everything that like we need in our own neighborhoods. And then, you know, he also just like kind of just expressed like he wakes up and he's just scared to go outside in the morning, you know, like he's just, you know, it's just emotionally draining time for people. So like you don't have to be the most woke person to know that you have like a friend that might be going through a hard time right now and just like reaching out to them. Because like I know even myself, like I am drained with everything that I have to do. Like I have friends that are going out to support. I know I have one friend that is having they have some kind of Venmo. Like there's tons of ways that you can donate. Like you can donate to the George Floyd fund. You can donate to the Running with Ahmaud fund. They are huge GoFundMe pages, but you can also look for community organizations. You know, anybody that's going out in DC, they have local organizations that are fundraising for water, for masks, for things to deal with tear gas. So, you know, if you know that you have friends that are going out to protest, look for one of these organizations that might be accepting donations and then just throw them like $5 or $10 to make sure that protesters have water or things like that. I've also seen a lot of people that are kind of mad about like these people that are kind of jumping on the protest bandwagon that like haven't been doing anything in the community before. So like maybe you don't support everything that's been going on with the protests now, but you can still reach out and try to be more active in your community, because this is where the problem came from, was lack of resources in the community. Like kids don't have recreational resources. Like arts and music programs are cut from schools. So inner city schools where like all of these kids and these victims to a lot of violence, they don't have alternative like programs. So, you know, reach out, like find an art program in your community, a gardening program, a theater program, you know, find things locally that like maybe you could support. You know, it doesn't have to be donating to like the Black Lives Matter page. There are tons of ways and tons of people that you could help out. So we'll drop some links in the description, because I found a couple cool articles. One of them was like 115 ways to donate. So they give you a list. They break it down into like the different kinds of funds, from like victims to memorial to mega funds, frontline funds, community restorations for when we have to like build up all of the businesses that have been burnt down and everything. So there's tons of ways that you can find a way to do a little bit, even if you only have $5 or $10 to support, or even if you only have a couple words or messages that you could maybe send out to your friends. There's definitely a lot of stuff that you could be doing right now, and it would mean a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, and if you are a teacher, try to sponsor some kid to train, or just teach a kid some jiu-jitsu. Take somebody under your wing, or find a way to help. You know, there's plenty of local social projects. I know there's Project Grapple. That's where Adacola went to. So any little thing you can do, just help somebody, teach somebody, you know? And if you see something messed up, say something, man. Because I'm telling you, if you don't say something, people are just going to think it's all right. It's not all right. It's not okay. But, I mean, yeah, we got the links. Nico, I mean,
Right.
it's really disheartening, some of the responses. But what's positive is a lot of people are messaging me. A lot of other prominent Black belts are messaging me, telling me to keep speaking. We're working together to make it so we have a coalition so that our voice is heard in the jiu-jitsu community, and other people will be comfortable doing jiu-jitsu. Because if we want jiu-jitsu to grow, this bullshit that I'm seeing out here has got to die. It has to end. Now, maybe some people don't want jiu-jitsu to be spread, but I'm going to make sure that I spread it to everyone as much as possible. So make sure y'all support Favela Jiu-Jitsu. Make sure you support Lionheart Initiative, and make sure you support your local jiu-jitsu gym. That's all I got to say, Nico.
All right, sounds good. All right, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments. If you have any questions, feel free to DM Tim on the BJJ Goons podcast Instagram. And that's it for this week.
Hey, peace and blessings, everybody. Stay blessed.